right, so we should be live right now. Dr. Valentine, I want to start out by thanking you for being a part of this process. It's important to get the support of the elders and those who came before us and those who we admire and respect so much. So I just really appreciate you for being a part of this, my brother. This is a time where we're looking to reclaim our energy. So much of our energy is being dispersed out because of social media and distractions and all types of foolishness and nonsense, my brother. I want to reclaim it. I want to be as powerful as I can be down here in this realm, my brother. So I know if you doing what you do, you could definitely help the participants of this workshop. And I guess with that, I'll be quiet, my brother, and I'll let you do your thing.
All right. Thank you very much, good brother. First of all, I want to thank you for.
Oh, and I'm sorry, Dr. Valentine. I want to give a shout out to your school because your school is something, it's so much distractions on the internet. There's like 10% truth, 30% lies, then another 10% truth. Your school is great because it's a way for somebody just to be focused and have pure concentration into what they really need. So big shout out to your school. What's your website again, my brother?
I'm going to do that right now. It's www.uksnow.org. Once more, uksnow.org.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. And like I said, I want to thank you and the young brothers, the new masters coming up for inviting us old heads onto your platforms so that we could kind of keep the continuity, passing the baton, making sure that, we keep the continuity that was begun so many decades ago. And when you invited me, told me what you were going to be studying, it hit a marker because we teach at least the essence and the fundamentals of what we call the Nibodnika fire, which is one of the other words for it, and a Kundalini force, dealing with Shakti and dealing with Shiva, the energies that were actually spoken about. Of course, today, a lot of the names for the forces that worked within our bodies to give us the God sense is now being anthropomorphized or put into physical forms. And a lot of the people who are worshiping the lower energies, the lower chakra energies, or what we call the satanic energies, are the ones that's actually vilifying our ancient sciences. So you see today that a lot of the European Christians, as well as Black Christians, are vilifying the ancient Kemetu sciences. And because the European has gotten hold of them and denigrated them, they've now become evil. So every time they want to speak about anything that's evil, they deal with the lies that come in the Bible about, the Jews being caught up in Egypt and then having to be freed by Moshiach and all this nonsense. All of this is crap. It's garbage. This is what was stolen from us. So what I wanted to do was to actually tap into and take a few frames from our classes that we hold at our university. First and foremost, just wanted to let you know that this is the symbol for our university. This is what we are about. We say that the mission, the life mission, is mastery. And we dedicate and livicate ourselves towards that end. It's a process, it's not a destination. Mastery is a process, it's a flow, it's a movement. So we will speak about it very briefly, keeping to the topic that we wish to focus on, which is Kundalini energy. So let's go forward. First and foremost, the first thing we want to understand and understand is that when we speak about pineal, we always use another word as well called epiphysis or epiphysis. And when we deal with it, we talk about exploring the bionetwork of what we know to be the first eye. The third eye are represented by this, third density, third dimension, third eye. These are the third eye because these two eyes keep us in one focus, and that one focus is on the physical plane. So when we say the third eye, we're dealing with the two eyes that deal with the illusion. The first eye deals with the reality, which is the one we want to come back to. That's the one where you see the eye at the top of the pyramid. That's the one that's the hidden eye, which is the particular course, the course that we teach at our university is called the path of the hidden light. Kundalini force, Kundalini energy, the introspection and examination of ourselves from the inside, the outside in rather than the inside out. We are constantly focused into the illusion outside in. Well, when we deal with the epiphysis, we're dealing with the inside and we are exploring that part of ourselves that we don't see. The part of ourselves that we speak about that is about the spine, or it looks like it's the spine, it's the network connected to the spine. And as we were speaking about the River Jordan, which is the material that source of energy that runs up the spine, we are dealing with the River Jordan, which essentially begins here in heaven and flows downward and then back up again. I don't want to get too deeply involved in semantics, but just to give you an idea that your body is a constant flow back and forth, yin and yang, and that's what keeps you balanced, the yin and yang force. We are now out of balance because the yang force is out of balance and the yin force is out of balance. The yin wants to be yang and the yang wants to be yin. So there is no balance in either of us because we are too busy trying to be the other physically and not spiritually. If you want to seek the other side of your so-called gender, you have to seek it from within, not to try to express it without. Wow. The balance comes with a peace of mind. So as we are exploring the bio-network of the first eye, because we say it's the first eye since it's a vestigial eye. What do we mean by vestigial? It means that it was first, and then it went into submission. It went into latency. That's what it is, the first eye. Everything that is latent is usually first. So we deal with the first eye. So that being said, just to give you an idea, this is what an actual pineal looks like. Now, when you talk about crystallization versus calcification, everybody say a calcified pineal. Calcified pineal does not mean there's a whole lot of calcium caught up around it. Calcified pineals are actually pineals that are saturated in a kind of gooey substance. And because of that gooey substance that surrounds it based upon diet, based upon fluoride, the imbibing of fluoride and materials such as that, what happens is that it becomes flaccid. Now, you know, the male penis, flaccid, does not do the job of forwarding or bringing the ecstasy or bringing the life force to the feminine principle. So if you look at it, the reason why the pineal is actually shown to be, or is actually codified by the ancients as a masculine one, you'll see it looks exactly like the head of a penis. So as you look at it, as far as calcification is concerned, there's a difference between calcification and crystallization. When the body is dealing with health and purification, the pineal rises and essentially it hardens like a penis ready to give forth its life force. And what happens as Kundalini is rising, it rotates inside of the substantia nigra of the brain. It actually rotates. And what happens, it begins to give off phosgene information or energies that begins to light up the substantia nigra to the point where a rainbow, that the ancients say a rainbow is formed around the pineal. And that rainbow is the first and only ark of the covenant. What they talk about in the Bible and what they tell you they're carrying around. And so that is just representations of the arc that actually happens when there is phosgene and a lot of sparks given off by the potassium as you begin to raise Kundalini. So Kundalini, the pineal rotates during the time. So it's actually honing in the way that a radar dish or any of the dishes you use, it turns to get to the right spot where it begins to localize or pick up spiritual energy past the interferences that you see with 5G and all the rest of it, which makes it twice as difficult to be able to use Kundalini energy and to penetrate through this screen. They know what Kundalini energy does. They know what raising your life force and your energy does. That's why you see you're inside of a polluted soup of electromagnetic smog in your home, around you, in your workplace, outside, in the 5G, especially with the chemtrails. All of these things are to circumvent your ability to raise that energy within you. Now, just to give you an idea, so you know where the pineal or the epiphysis dorsi is located, we give this particular, I guess what do you call it, animation. And in that animation, you'll see that the epiphysis is located just what is known as rostrodorsal. What is rostrodorsal? It means it's in the back of a beak-like projection. And if you notice that as it turns, you will see that that is the beak of Heru. The beak of Heru, as spoken in our ancient Kemetu sciences. All of what you see the ancient ones looking like they worshipped, you know, the European comes up and think that we were worshiping hawks, or we were worshiping lions. No, they were all a part of us. They were all what we call simulacra or simulacrum, which means they were similar to what we are. We are the highest form of life, the highest spiritual form of life. So every other form of life in existence on this plane is within us and is represented in our body parts, represented in the way that our molecules and the ways that our designs of our skull, the designs of our spine. We are, as we are forming in the womb of our mother, we go through all these different shapes that look like the different animals. Well, that's because they all are projections from us back when we were ethereal beings casting forth our own ways for creation, imitating our mother father. So it's located rostrodorsal, near the back of the beak of any beak-like projection, to what is known as the superior colliculus, and behind and beneath the striate or stria medullaris, between the laterally positioned thalamic bodies. Now, this was a technical thing so that you can go look for yourself. This is what I give to my students. They go and they study the anatomy so that they can understand and understand exactly what this whole thing about Kundalini is. You have to understand the physicality as well as the spirituality, and you have to understand what it is and understand what it is you must be able to do and become in order to be able to participate in this science. So this is that little red dot you see is indicative of right where the pineal sits. Now, it's interesting because if you look at the pineal gland, you will see it looks like what we call the staff of Usur. And Usur, which is the symbol of resurrection, because essentially when you raise Kundalini, you are resurrecting the latent God within you. So you see that each part, there's something called the idea, the Ida and the Pingala. These Ida and the Pingala are what we'll go and speak in a little later. These are two of the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Now this, according to Christian law, the Ida and the Pingala are the two thieves that were crucified on either side of Jesus Christ. Now the two thieves, the reason why we call the two thieves, and the reason why they took those two thieves and placed them there, is because unless the Ida and the Pingala and the energy that flows through them are dysfunctioned and thereby utilized to raise the Kundalini, the Kundalini cannot rise. So one thief says, get off and let's do our thing. The other thief says, this day, no, let him be. He's God and he's going to ascend by doing this. And he turns to him and says, this day you will be with me in paradise. Of course, because both of them had to die. And so did the Christ, so that he may raise, just like at the end, you see that Heru actually raises his father, Asa. This has all been stolen. This is all your what we call the astrotheology as well as biotheology. Everything that's happening outside that's divine is happening within you at the same time. And the symbolisms that you see that your ancestors used did not have to do with profanity or Lucifer or Satan and all this bullshit that these white Christians are now feeling so self-righteous because we are going into hell and we're now exposing all these satanic fools. What is actually happening is that one mythos, Jesus Christ, is now setting itself against another mythos, Lucifer and Satan, and they want you to believe that these two entities are really alive and that they're somehow outside of us and they're getting ready to do battle in the time of Armageddon and all this bull. The Armageddon is within you. You are the one that is doing battle with yourself, against your senses, against all of what it is that keeps you from realizing your God self. That symbol is also represented in the pine cone, because they always tell you what a pineal actually comes from the word pine cone or pine cone, pine this, pineal, pine cone. If you see this particular symbol that you're looking at on screen on the left is actually in the Vatican, in Vatican Square. So they put it right in your face. I tell my students that the two peacocks represent the same as the Ida and the Pingala. They're putting it right in your face. You see, again, the pearl that's down there, that's the pituitary. The pearl that you see in the square that's silvery and reflecting, it's you. At the bottom of the screen, you're seeing a grave. This is the grave that the Masons use when they raise the initiate going in for the third master degree, and they give them the lion's paw, and they raise the I guess the person that they call the Hiram Abiff. They raise him from the dead. So the coffin that you're seeing there is the same coffin that they took from the, I guess, the masters of the king's chamber of the Great Pyramid. If you look at that particular coffin, it looks exactly like the coffin in the king's chamber, only it's been, I guess, fixed up a little bit so it could be more presentable. But that pineal there, that pine cone you're seeing in the Vatican, they know exactly what it is. It is representative of the pineal gland. And the two of, you see the ones that the peacocks, because they open up and have all these colors, they're representative of the 7 stages of Kundalini. Now, let us go into an understanding what a chakra is. What is a chakra? Well, a chakra is a vortex of energy, a meridian, an energetic pathway, a channel. The major chakras draw energy in from the aura, the personal morphogenetic energy field that surrounds the body, sharing atomic energy with the cosmos. The spectrum contained within your light body aligns with each chakra to maintain balance between the material and the spiritual worlds. So when we talk about a chakra, we are talking about an energy field that is localized at certain areas in the body. You'll come to find out that there are 7 major, but there are a heck of a lot more chakra points in your body than just the 7. Now, the chakra or the chakra system cannot work without there being a healthy endocrine system. You want to know why they attack the endocrine system? You want to know why they want to destabilize your sexuality? They want to destroy your ability to maximize the feminine body and maximize the potential of the feminine body by creating all these confusing 22, 23 to 150 different types of genders and changing up to she, he, be, d, z, e, we, she, mem, shim, all this crap. It is to confuse you and to maintain the confusion that they're creating by distorting your food, your water, and your air, so that your endocrine system, which essentially is dealing with the pineal, the pituitary, the thyroid, the thymus, the adrenal, the pancreas, and the ovaries and testes, these are all being dysfunctioned because they need to be holistically operating at their peak efficiency if you are to get those visions. Now, sometimes there are people who are eating idly and doing the right things, or even get hit in the head, or even go through an accident, or go through some kind of epiphany based on someone passing away. It doesn't mean that the Kundalini energy isn't working and your psychic powers aren't working, but to work them efficiently so that you can knock on the door of the Creator. You're not just getting flashes. You can actually control that particular meeting. You can actually ring the doorbell of the Creator when you have all parts of the endocrine system functioning. But we don't. All of us are in the worst of health. Now, we can do that by taking the ayahuasca, or we can take the mescalito, we can smoke some grass and some ganja and so forth, but these are artificial. You have the highest and most potent, I'm talking about the most potent hallucinogenic is in your body. Okay? And they're using it today as a material, what they call adrenochrome. And I'm not talking about just the adrenochrome, I'm talking about what your brain creates when it's ready to actually go into death. In other words, when there is a death cycle, for instance, or when there's a deep sleep cycle, you have a surge, just like the animals do right before, say, for instance, when the lion takes down a gazelle. You notice how the gazelle just sends, after it's been caught, it tends to surrender and completely go out of whack. It's not screaming anymore. It's because there's flooded with the N-dimethyltryptamine. This N-dimethyltryptamine is the most potent hallucinogenic ever. I don't care what mushrooms you take. I don't care what it is that you take from the grass and from what nature gives you. You make the most potent biohallucinogenic ever. And it can be initiated again through torture, through pain, through suffering, through fear. And this is what the elite are doing to our black and brown children, which is why they wanted them coming through Mexico. They wanted to snatch them out of Haiti, because they wanted to take the adrenochrome. The adrenochrome and the pineals of black and brown children have more substance. They're tastier to these demons. They have a lot more substance to them because of the concentration of melanin, which makes them targets, which is why they kill so many of us. They kill our children, they kill our boys in the streets, our women, and then while they're there in the slab, they have people who they call and say, okay, we got another one. And what they do is they dig into the brain and snatch out the pineals. Sometimes they could leave out with about 20 pineals, each pineal costing like $1,500 to $10,000, depending on the market. So let's talk about what it happens in the template. Now, if you are a follower of the Dravidian sciences of Kundalini, in fact, that's, if you want to deal with the book of Revelations, the book of Revelations was actually called the initiation of anointed Iesous. Initiation of anointed Iesous was Apollonius of Tyana, who went to India to study Kundalini energy. And when he came back, he went back to a place called Patmos, and he wrote about his experiences, and he called it the initiation of anointed Iesus. The Catholic Church got hold of it and began to break it down, took it and put it into their book in the 17th century. And that book became the book of Revelation, but actually became the book of the Apocalypse, which means the revelation. And then after that, you have the so-called Protestants taking the Apocalypse and changing it into the book of Revelations of John. John was Apollonius of Tyana, who in his abbreviation was called Paul. His nickname was Paul. So the book of Paul was actually the messages of Apollonius of Tyana. Apollonius wrote about it, and in it, he wrote about his experiences with Kundalini energy. And in writing about Kundalini energy, he masked it because his yogi master told him he could not reveal the secrets. So he masked it in a story. And that is with the book of the seven churches, the book of the seven seals. All of these is what he masked. That was all the stories. And of course, the Jews who were putting together the Bible, who were actually destroying the Bible, and the Europeans who were Latinizing it and doing all kinds of things to hide the message that was the astrophysics and the astrophysiological sciences, they began masking what it was about. They began hiding the information from the people during what they call the so-called Dark Ages. And the funny thing about it is that there were certain templates that Apollonius had. And these templates are what the great master yogis used to draw when they were going through the process of raising Kundalini. They would draw out what would happen when each one of those chakras would open. They would get a vision of what that chakra wheel looked like. And so they put it down in these particular sigils that you see here. Okay? The Muladhara, they call it. The Satisthana, going up the spine, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddha, Arjuna, and of course, Sahasrara. Now, there were specific sounds during that meditation that they would intone to reach that seventh. And of course, it would start with Vam, Lam, Ram, Yam, Ham, Om. Om would be the final one that they would actually go through as the sound frequencies, because of course the Kundalini was the light frequency, but again, the intonation of the sound as the wheel was opening would come up in the ear, and they would then imitate that and then reverberate that sound, which would help it go to the next chakra. Next. Now, here for you who are musicians, if you wish to begin the process of making music that aligns with the chakra body complex, I've given to my students specific notes or the particular keys that best resonate to those Kundalini chakra points. So the minor notes, which are the sharps and the flats, reside in the lower chakras, while major notes reside from the heart upward. Frequencies varied by handmade Tibetan chakra bowls. That's the other thing. Back when we were in New York, we used to have our center that had the gathering of the masters. And every New Year's, which is in spring, and in August, we used to hold these rituals, if you want to call them, or gatherings, where I had a gigantic pyramid in my living room, and we would have the Tibetan bowls, and we would go through the meditation, and we'd go through the Agnihotra, and we would then use the bowl to resonate off the walls of the house, and it would put people into these beautiful trances, and people were actually being healed by these sounds. So for those of you who are musicians, I will give you essentially notes for the Muladhara, which is B flat, Svatisthana, which is E flat, The Manipura is major in the F flat, sharp. And if you want to get Anahata, you deal with C. Vishuddha is G. And of course, the D is the Arjuna, or the first eye. But then it's funny, as a musician, back when I was writing music, I would always write my songs in A. Every time the brothers who would put together the sound for me, because I wasn't really into the music itself and, knowing what the notes were and so forth, I would give them the key to what I hear, sing the notes and give them the notes. And after a while, they just said, yeah, A, A. I didn't know why I was hearing it in A, but this was after I had gone through Kundalini exercises many years before that. And I had gone to the sixth, which was the Arjuna, which was very painful, by the way, because you begin to feel a crack behind the neck, and it is almost as if your head is coming off. You don't know, your head seems to separate from your body, and it's very painful to get past this particular sixth chakra to the seventh. And I stopped at that particular time. But I know for a fact that all my music was always in A for some crazy reason. And I always gravitated to songs that were in A. But anyway, that's just to give you an idea. If you are a musician, you have the frequency and the hertz, you have the notes that you can play in if you want to actually animate or energize somebody's chakra, especially when you're doing massages with the stones, the heated stones, as you're putting them up the back, and you're charging that person's Kundalini. You could be using certain bells that are attuned, E flat, B flat, F sharp, C, and so forth, as you are targeting that person's healing energy. Now, again, we wanted to show you how that Kundalini force, we talked the Ida and the Pingala, and how they were related to opening up what we call the first eye. You see here, just take a picture of this. You can understand. I don't want to go too deeply involved in it because it takes time. And if you are interested, you can join us at the university, which will give you information towards the end. So just take a picture of it. It's nothing new. You can see this on the web. We've had this up for the last 15, 20 years. So there should be information for you to go up there and to research for yourself. Now, by the way, just to give you an idea about Kundalini, you have to learn the breath. You have to learn what we call prana yoga. Prana yoga is a necessity because you are the breath of life. You're not the Mickey D of life. You're not the, you're not the Orange Julius of life. No, you are the waters and the breath of life. This is what you are at the substantial level. So the breath, without the breath, there is nothing. The breath is what magnetizes you to third density. Without the breath, you can't stay in the illusion. The breath keeps you in. That's why there is an in and an out. That's why your heart beats at a 6/4. It doesn't go tum 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 tum. It goes tum tum tum. It beats at an irregular pace because it's keeping you in balance. All right. Now, when you are doing Kundalini, especially when you're doing the breath, there are areas here called the carotid gland, carotid gland, right here. And what happens is, as you're dealing with the breathing exercises to raise Kundalini, you end up with what is known as the cobra effect. The cobra effect is that this part of your jowls and your neck begins to expand. That's why the ancients, when you look at the diadems, they usually have a cobra along with Mother Mut. Mut means raw energy. That's why the so-called vulture was there. It is raw energy. It is what the vulture does. He takes crap and garbage and takes that and converts that into energy. So that's the same thing. Mother Mut was the base of Kundalini. Okay, she is raw power. So what happens is you get what is known as the acute, what we call an acute pranic effect, the inflow and outflow that is symbolized by the cobra. And now the carotid is right again below the ears, right on top of the neck, and it looks like the coccygeal gland that's down around by the area in the area of the crotch and the area of the spine down at the base of the spine. So as above, so below. You'll look and see that the base of your spine opens up to look like the cobra. And when you begin to breathe up that energy, to bring it up to the pinnacle, to open up what we call the lamp of Gad that taketh away the sins of the world. Gad is the head. The name is not God, the lamp of God. It was the lamp of Gad that taketh away the sins of the world. They changed it up so you didn't see, so that you could not pick up the secret. So in the oxygen, when you begin to do the proper breathing, there's a combination of oxygen and CO2 that begin to stimulate the carotid gland. Also, carbon dioxide and monoxide is a neurotransmitter, and it regulates what are known as chemosensors of the carotid gland, which are regulated by molecular oxygen. Now, I put that down because I didn't want to put a whole lot of information from our class in there. I just wanted to put that into the record for those of you who wish to understand how the breath is so important in raising Kundalini energy, and why it is that the cobra, which is down at the part of the base of the spine that looks like a cobra, it gives you the expansion, the ears right here under the parotid glands over here, it begins to grow out so you look like a cobra. Okay. Now, just in case you want to know about what it is that each one of them, the Muladhara, Svatisthana, and so forth, this is where they are located. The Muladhara is the base chakra located in the perineum. The color is red. Psychologically, it deals with strong emotions and sensations. In vibrational healing, red can be used for warming, stimulating, uplifting. However, it should not be overused, as it can become irritating, disturbing, and consuming. Satisthana, which is the order of what we call order or lam. Okay, Muladhara is life, vam, Svatisthana is order or lam, which is located in the abdominal region or spleen, but more in the pubic area. Psychologically, it deals with social aspects, with sexual capacity. It's warm, used as a body normalizer. It induces joy and enthusiasm. Manipura, which means wisdom. The sound is ram. It's in the navel. It is Tantian, the sea of ki, or central energy. That's where the part where you were connected to the umbilical, and the umbilical connected to the afterbirth connected then as well to mom. So that is the central part, central energy. It's yellow, located near the navel. Psychologically now, this Manipura deals with the intellect, warm, cheerful. It's a nerve builder, stimulates mental activity. When you know how to breathe in that area, you can actually stimulate. You don't need any stimulus from outside. You have all the stimulants you need within. Anahata, which is love or yam, is in the heart region. The color is green. Green growth, vitality, nutrition, and healing. Blockage can manifest as immune system or heart problems or a lack of compassion. Psychologically, it deals with feelings as well as the intellect. Vishuddha, which is power, which is ham, which is up in the throat. The color is blue. Psychologically, it deals with speaking, communicating. Therapeutically, it is cool, peaceful, relaxing. Antidote for too much red. Feels pressure when you are not communicating your emotions properly. So up in this area where we get choked up, where we begin to start feeling or we shout too much, and all of a sudden the voice goes away, it means that you're not getting that same type of emotional response from partners or from the situations that you're dealing in. Ajna, which is imagination, that's the sound of Om. It's in the brow, forehead. It's an indigo color for the pineal gland. It is a physical eye, some call it the third eye, with the capabilities to look upward or of looking upward. Psychologically, it deals with intuition, therapeutically cool, and can be an astringent. Now, here's where we get to the Sahasrara, which means it's transcendental will. Crown, upper head, purple, therapeutically relaxing. Psychologically, it deals with imagination, spiritual interface, inspiration. Connects you with messages from higher realms. Can be experienced as a pressure at the top of the head. Okay? So it gives you an idea of what could be going on. If you're feeling that there are certain things that are not really working for you, you're feeling depressed, you're feeling like discouraged, or there are certain things that you're dealing with that you feel that you need more energy and focus in. Here you have a very cursory breakdown, because please understand, this is just scratching the surface of what we teach in our university. All right? I'm just giving you an idea of what we teach in the university. Okay? Now, as we're closing out, there are 7 primary or major chakras, at least 18 secondary minor chakras, numerous tertiary chakras along the meridians, and still more quaternary minor chakras, or what you know as pressure points, as well as some on sensitive areas of the body. The many chakras each have significance due to their individual vibrational qualities. Balanced chakras help create a healing vibrational template for your body to align with. Now, from the sun's radiation, we perceive or see a narrow range of vibrational frequencies. We see wavelengths from 0.3 to 0.7 micrometers, which we call colors. We use colors for healing because their vibrations are in powerful resonance with our chakras and our internal organs. By balancing the chakras, we match the vibrational qualities of infinite intelligence, thereby facilitating the creation of an inner healing template for the body to align with. That being said, just gave you a little taste of what we're dealing with. Our metaphysical psychology courses are set for the fall, winter, and spring semesters. The fall semester begins this month on the 19th. The winter semester begins December the 19th. We don't celebrate the Christmas or the Christ Mass or Saturnalia when the so-called Satanists do sacrifices, kill children, and so forth, as you've seen in many of my webinars. The spring semester begins March on the eve of the real New Year's of 2021. The number to call is 800-847-1291. Again, 800-847-1291. And you can call for our other services as well, and that being the vaccination exemption package, our Juice Plus, which will definitely help you to get your body right for Kundalini energy. And you can call that same number, 800-847-1291, as well as any kind of consultations that you may wish to enlist from us. And with that, you have a kind of a breakdown, which is a kind of a real, I was kind of dropping you into deep waters that'll give you a kind of a taste of what we teach in Metaphysical Psychology 1. And by the way, there are 3 levels. Metaphysical Psychology 1 is the initiate level. Metaphysical Psychology 2, which has not been scheduled yet, that is the ascension level. This is the initiate level we are introducing here, the ascension level. And then there is something called the perfection level. These three levels were the levels taught in ancient Kemet, and it was called the path of the hidden light. And they taught what was called the doctrine of the hidden light. That's what we teach at our university. Again, 800-847-1291 if you are interested. Again, Brother Rich, thank you for the opportunity to speak to the family.
And I definitely appreciate it. Let me get rid of this thing here. Yeah, I definitely appreciate, I mean, you coming through and sharing that information, man. I didn't want it to end, Dr. Valentine. I didn't want it to end just now. I mean, you was just going in, and the way you explain things, I mean, you really make somebody understand the information. It's one thing to understand something intellectually, but when you break it down the way you break it down, a deeper part of me understands the topic that you are discussing. And that's a rare gift with a speaker. So I know this is going to be gold for the people that are using this before they, go into these Kundalini exercises with the brother Blue Pill, my brother. But yeah, that was powerful. That
Thanks.
was powerful. I want to ask you real quick, Dr. Valentine. You was talking about the radiation of the sun and the frequencies, the limited frequencies that we get from it. What about, I always hear about people when I talked to another brother about this yesterday, talk about sun gazing during sunrise and sunset. What exactly is the sun giving off at sunrise and sunset that people rave about and say that the ancients raved about, and that is so, people are saying it's so important for us to sun gaze and look directly at the sun at this particular time during the day and during the evening?
That's funny that people are only now catching up to it. You ask our students back 35 years ago when I was teaching metaphysical psychology, and we would go to Brooklyn Botanical Gardens in the morning, and I would teach the people sun gazing. What was the reason for that? Because, and most people don't know what it's for. They just say, well, they get the energy, the rays of the sun. Well, the sun coming up is Heru, the sun going down is Asa. Okay, so it depends. You get the high yellow and white light energy in the morning, and then you get that purple to amber colors and the softer colors in the evening time as the sun is going down into the west. But why do we stare at the sun? Why was I teaching that nearly 35 years ago? Which people, you can ask my students who were there, they were doing it. We would also, I also showed them how to tie copper around their heads, a copper wire, tighten it 7 times, and then put it around a tree. But what you had to do was to find the portal, the life portal of the tree, because every tree had a life portal that you had to find with the pendulum. And I taught people pendulum analysis, and they used the pendulum to find the life portal and then take that and tie it around the tree, tie it to their first eye, and they started picking up pictures of what that tree saw 10, 50, 100 years ago. They were looking at terrains because the tree was giving its memory to them. It was using the Tesla energy that I was teaching. But reason why I was telling people about gazing in the sun was because when you want to open up your chakra energies, you have to find out which one of the chakras are not in balance. And the way you do that is to stare at the sun. Of course, you have to do it in stages. You don't just look up at the sun. You have to close your eyes and let the sun bathe your eyelids first so that you become acclimated to the light. And as the light is coming in, your eyelashes also filter, okay? And you open it up just slightly so that the eyelashes protect you from that, get that light in there. And then sooner or later, you could look directly in the sun. Now, here's the trick. Because you are the light of that sun, whatever color shows up on your retina is the chakra that's imbalanced.
Say that again. Whatever color shows up on the retina
Yeah,
Is the
is
chakra
the chakra that's imbalanced.
okay, okay.
Okay. That way, it used to tell me when the people would tell me exactly what colors that they saw, I would say, okay, you need to do more of this, or you need to do more of that. Some people saw the purple, and I was saying, okay, well, you're up there. You know,
Mm.
your eye is open at this particular time. Okay. So that is a healing modality. You can look up at the sun and you can tell where you're having the problems. And if you saw through the primer that each color, each chakra was connected to a specific part of the body physically. And as it was connected to the body physically, it was also connected to the body psychologically. So you could tell based on the colors what the person was going through psychologically as well. And so we would do analysis that way. I used to do a science called radionics. A lot of people don't know about radionics, but you could broadcast healing to people. All you needed was a witness. I just needed a picture. I just needed a particular stone, a particular nutrient or herb, and I had a broadcast table. The broadcast table had a Tesla coil under the broadcast table. I had a place for the person's witness or the picture. And what I could do is then take a prism. You know what a prism is?
Mhm.
A prism, you can shine a light, a full spectrum light directly to the prism and onto the picture. And the picture itself, being your witness, would then show me which one of the chakras was off.
Mm.
Because the light would shine on your picture, and then I would get a picture like too much blue, too much yellow, too much orange. And I would know exactly what was going on with that person. They didn't even have to come into the office. They just had to leave their pictures. So at that point, I would know which stone, because this is Ayurveda on the next level. I would know which stone, which crystal, and so forth to place on the board, the witness board, and then place a specific nutrient or particular homeopathic remedy, and then begin that particular process. Let that process go. Set it off to the side, cover it over with a shield, and let it radiate the healing. And the people would call me back and tell me, you know what? I would had that migraine headache and it's gone for some reason. Why it's gone? Why? Because I just broadcasted to your signal. Your picture, there's nobody like you. When somebody takes your picture, they snap a picture of your aura, and that aura is distinct.
Mm. Wow. You know, you mentioned music earlier, and so I'm assuming that the musical notes do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, those are the chakras,
Do re
correct?
mi fa sol la, and not T. Somebody say C.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They deal with the chakras themselves, but it's actually majors. You deal with the major notes, and they just tell you um, best thing to do, because I'm not very good with telling you what a major is and a minor is. I just know what it is when I hear it.
Mhm.
Deal with something called the solfeggio frequency. Solfeggio. The solfeggio frequencies. These are the frequencies that they took out of the music in the Catholic Church, because when they played the music based on the solfeggio frequencies, which actually aligned the chakras of the people did not need to have Jesus Christ anymore. They were actually witnessing Jesus Christ. So the
Right.
church put a ban on any of the musicians, like uh, just name them off, Beethoven, all of the people you're dealing with, Mozart, they were not allowed to use that hymn.
Mm. Wow. Well, I guess I'm trying to think if there's anything else, man. I mean, that was great, man. I really appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it. So what we have now, so I guess that vaccine that they trying to hit us with,
Hmm.
that that's to pretty much stop this Kundalini energy, huh?
Well, I'll tell you, the vaccine. Um, I'm finished. I'm about to do the webinar over again. Just let the family know. I'm doing it over again for those of the people who couldn't get to it. But I'm also adding to it as well. And what I'm going to tell you is COVID is not what you think it is. All right. The actual COVID is actually, oh my God.
Say it, Doc.
Well, COVID is essentially it's you dealing with AI. 19, the number one is A, and the number 9 is I. So it's essentially getting you ready or uploading energies into you through AI, getting you ready. It's a COVID is the ID is identification.
Mm.
Okay. So do not get tested. Do not go for testing. Do not go for the vaccination. Do not wear masks. Do not do any of these things. In fact, it's funny. Um, the Orange Man himself said that he was not going to promote the WHO's vaccination program over here.
Yeah, I heard. I heard.
Yeah. So we got to look at this as a blessing in a way, because now I can do the vaccination exemption,
Mm-hmm.
because I couldn't based upon New York and the rest of them. But yes, the vaccination programs, the fluoride water, I'm talk to the sisters and tell them do not buy the fluoridated water that they have the little children, where they go up there and they see little children in pink and blue.
Yeah.
Those, don't buy those. Do not give your children fluoride, because it causes the calcification of the pineal gland. It dumbs down that energy. It causes distortions in the pituitary and the pineal and the endocrine system itself. That's
Right.
why you're having such gender confusions today.
Mhm. Hey, leave your cash app for the people that appreciate this information and want to send you a little gift, my brother.
Oh, okay. Cash App, it's dollar sign, of course, and it's a capital S as in science, lowercase u, NNU, and the number 7. That's the new SU, N as in Nancy, N as in Nancy, U, and the number 7.
Okay. Well, with that being said, like I said, thank you. Thank for everybody for participating, tuning into this workshop. I know this helped you, and let's get ready for this workshop, family. But I'm glad that you tuned into this, family. Dr. Valentine, I'm gonna talk to you soon, my brother.
Yes, sir. Take
Peace.
care. Peace.